There's nothing wrong with a GMO. We like GMOs.
But we just don't like glyphosate and Monsanto screwing up our food.
We just don't want all these other people.
And have you noticed the difference in the way you feel?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Energy-wise, I stopped. I had been on a lot of dairy products and so forth. Nobody could ever tell me in all my life growing up why I kept having sinus infections, all kinds of problems, respiratory problems. It was the dairy. And because I'm so much Asians are 95% lactose intolerant.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And there wasn't a Dr. Wood that told me that. He could have saved me thousands of pills in my lifetime. A lot of grief, a lot of boxes of Kleenex.
And you don't have any of those issues anymore.
Since the time I stopped all my dairy, I have not had a cold. No sinus infections. That's over 12, somewhere between 12 and 15 years.
About 12 years. 12, 13 years.
That's not too shabby.
So do most Asians not have, because they're lactose intolerant, are they kind of dairy free?
Yeah.
They try.
Most of the population.
A lot of them.
Majority of the population
most of the Asians are dairy free because they're lactose intolerant. You just cannot.
Well, they don't have too many dairies over in Asia.
No, they don't. They drink soy milk.
Yeah.
They drink rice milk.
They've been doing soy milk for
And as soon as they adopt an American diet, the diabetes rate goes up, the heart disease rate goes up, the obesity rate goes up, and all the other autoimmune problems
World
go
War
up.
II was the perfect example. A lot of countries had a lot of dairy products, all the Scandinavian countries,
Right.
all that. And at World War II, they didn't get any of it. So all of their rates, cancer rates, diabetes, heart disease, it just went like this, down when they didn't get it. After World War II, as soon as the dairy came back, it went, and they got even more dairy, because I finally read something else about it. People were talking about protein, everything else, that we were, as the world was protein deficient, and the U.S. had all this powdered milk that they had stored up, and they were going to have to destroy it because there was no place for it. And they said, oh, okay, the protein thing, we can just give it off to everybody. All these countries, they overloaded them with all of that dairy stuff, and that caused some more of the spikes in the diabetes rates and everything that was associated with it. So we were killing them all.
For the men, prostate cancer is on the rise, women, uterus, breast, and take out the dairy, take out the foods that cause these problems, you change your life. People have to realize cancer is a business in this country. Susan G. Komen is sponsored by Yoplait. Some of the other sponsors are beef and a lot of aspects of the dairy industry. You have to look at where the money travels, where it goes. And part of making changes in our own life personally is when you educate yourself, you come from a point of power and knowledge. Mm-hmm. Then you can make healthier choices as to how do I want to live my life? What kind of footprint do I want to have on this planet?
Yeah.
How do I want to, am I walking my talk? It's not about genetics. It's about what goes in our mouth.
Did your daughter eat dairy?
Oh yeah. She drank like a fish. She smoked cigarettes. This woman could run a marathon, and then the night before the marathon, she was running on borrowed time. She could burn a candle at both ends. When you're adopted, you don't know someone's, their history. And this is this young, beautiful Asian woman was very driven to be her aim was to be a successful yuppie. Living in Scottsdale, driving the Audi, living the lifestyle. She was #1 in sales at the TV station.
She was the marketing manager of
Youngest.
Channel 3 television, the youngest female marketing manager in the United States, the very first female marketing manager ever for this. She accomplished all that before she was 30.
And her aim was, you know, to be the tops of the tops, and it was all material. There was no spirituality. It was a life out of balance. It was all material driven, and you can't tell people like that what to do and how to do it. They have to find their road, their journey, and she packed a lot into the time she was here. And she could run a marathon. And the night before, stand at a bar sucking down alcohol and still move. I mean, an extraordinary person. Here she is dying of cancer. She had artocarcinoma, she had lung cancer, she had cancer all through her body, and she goes for implants.
After her diagnosis?
After her diagnosis, some doctor put them in. What they put in, she got a breast of an Ethiopia on one side, excuse me. And she had a small frame, and it was like, my God, you know? But she was proud of them.
She was 5'2".
The puppies and the girls.
She was 5'2", and athletic. When we moved back here to the state of Utah, she had been a race walker, and I checked her times, her training times, against the state records. She would have obliterated the state records.
She was bottom line, she was a very driven young woman. And it's, what path are you driving? What is it about? It's not just about passing the other cars. It's taking the time to sometimes stop the car, smell the flowers, get grounded, and say, am I living a purposeful life? Or am I living just a materialistic life? We show up at her house, you can't go out looking like that. Get into my closet and get some nice clothes on. It's not that I didn't have nice clothes on. It wasn't the clothes that were appropriate to go out to
the restaurant
in Scottsdale that we deemed necessary that we show up at. Anyway, are you filming all this? Are you filming in there?
We are filming this though, because this is good. Some of this content we're gonna clip. I'm gonna put
so if we need
pieces of
to
it.
film in there,
We do need some, but this is good. So keep going.
So
keep going.
You know, we could have children, we could have family, we could have extended family, and you know, when the student is ready, I believe the teacher will be there. And there's no accidents in life. There's a series of interesting events. And how our paths cross with people, to be in a restaurant and suddenly you're getting hugged by everyone in the restaurant. And here it is, we didn't call it Thanksgiving. They called it Thanks-living. Because you were saving a turkey, you were saving a life, you were eating everything that was plant-based. And then when they sent us home with this DVD called Cowspiracy, which is not an easy, it's on Netflix, you can watch it. It's not an easy one to watch, but if you have any compassion in your life for animals, you cannot eat things that raise their young babies and have feelings too. So these are all shifts in consciousness, and they're all stepping stones. So, I mean, growing up, you'll appreciate this. My mother was 4'10", and she kept saying to me, after I had you, and you may not want this on tape, I got varicose veins, I got stretch marks, I got ponderous breasts, and I got fat. I looked at my mother, I'm not going to be any of those. Not that I'm tall, I'm almost 5'5". It used to be 5'5".
That's better than 4'5".
It wasn't better than 4'10". With hair, she was 5'6". It was teased. And I told her all the things I wasn't going to get. So she was my perfect teacher as what I didn't want to create. I didn't want to live a life in fear. I didn't want to live a life in hate. I didn't want to live a life living in this little box. You have to come out of the box and see what's on the other side. We have to sample and go out in the world and say, okay, life is color, it's flavor, it's texture. It's many, many different things. And until you venture out and explore and to make healthy decisions based on knowledge. rather than just blind belief, you know, and or owning up to saying, oh, it's genetics. So when we say it's genetics, it's like passing the buck. We become victims, and we live a life in this country of victimhood. Everyone's blaming something else. You turn on the news, governments are blaming this one, we're blaming that one. Well, take responsibility, and that's all we can do, and we can change the planet if everyone takes responsibility to be a better human being, and to be kind and compassionate and caring and nurturing to each other. So,
Can you guys talk about the transition though? Talk about the transition, because here you went through everything out in your cabinets.
We threw everything out.
But talk about the transition, because it was like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to eat. I don't know how to go to the grocery store.
It wasn't really that bad. Barbara didn't cook. She came out of New York.
Okay, just not
Don't go there.
I didn't cook, but I like to eat. And Brian liked to cook, and I
was
clean up.
raised in a lot of different cuisines. Having started off in China, the normal Asian diet was a lot of vegetables, rices, and in a family of 4, a piece of chicken about that big, by that, fed the family of 4. It was used more as a condiment rather than a prime ingredient in the meal. So I was used to cooking a lot of that, and I was used to a lot of vegetables, and I love the vegetables. I love the bok choys. I like the mushrooms, a variety of flavors, and especially flavors is what I want. And there's a lot of different groups in this world that really go after the flavors. The Indians in India, south of the border, Mexican, use huge numbers of spices over into there. The Europeans never had it until Marco Polo with the spice trade. And they brought spices to Europe, and they made that dead cow taste a whole lot better. And that's how the French got to have some decent cuisine, because before that, their meals were horrible. So this was, I'm used to that, and so I started doing that, and then we went, for a little bit, I went to McDougall and about Barbara's cholesterol, and the big comment they made to us there was, drop out as much of the oil as you can. So the salmon she had been eating prior to that, before we went vegan, had a lot of oil in it, a lot of fat. I had used a lot of oils in my cooking, so I reduced the amount of oil we were using in the cooking. I've gone to use a little bit of an oil for maybe flavoring and a vegetable stock or something into there. And it works, I get the flavors that I want. And her cholesterol just went, and as the doctor there said, you know, it's the fat you eat is the fat you wear.
And we're all addicted to sugar, oil, and salt.
Those are the 3 things that we can change it. And we get too much of the fats in our diet. So we can reduce that. We get plenty of them. We eat an avocado, we eat these nuts, they have oils in them. They have the fats. That's all we need.
And people are always saying to us, so where do you get your protein? This country is so over-proteinized. Everyone's on a ketogenic diet, which really stresses out the kidneys, and you can't sustain it. I mean, you put yourself into ketosis. So green leafy vegetables have a lot more protein. Kale, collard greens, get a huge source of protein, and cruciferous, and
the broccolis are very, very good for you. And I've always loved the flavor of them, and I always try and use them, and I do them in different manners, so I get different textures out of it.
So you had to go learn a different cooking style,
Not
or
really a different
it was just
cooking
changing
style.
the pantry,
I just
changing grocery
I
stores?
changed a few things in the pantry, and I still have all my oils. I have extra virgin olive oil, I have canola oil, I have sesame oil, I have grapeseed oil, I have, you name them, I probably own them.
But it's just.
And I use a little bit as the flavoring into that. And
We don't eat fried food.
I don't, I keep off a lot of the fried stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll bake it, broil it, grill it, do a lot of different things with it. And I can get and sometimes I find the grilling adds the flavor.
With that, what
It
herbs?
brings it out. The best thing about a pineapple is put it on the grill it for a little bit, put it on your plate and taste it then. It's really good.
And, it's also part of it is eating the rainbow. Life is color. It's not
Right.
eating brown food. From life you get life. From death you don't get life. You eat things that are alive and rich in enzymes. Sprouts, seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. Get all your, your omega-3s and 6s. We have a drink in the morning. Our drink is kale, carrot, lime, apple, fresh ginger, fresh turmeric, dandelion greens, could be cilantro, it could be spinach. Put it all in a blend tech, and then I'll throw in chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds. I'll throw in some moringa, which is another Mexican leaf, rich in antioxidants. And we drink this drink every morning. I have so much energy, it scares a lot of people. I will go out and ride my bike 40, 50 miles, then I'll go swim, then I'll take a yoga class, or I'll teach a yoga class, and then I'll say, let's go for a couple of mile hike. And when I go to bed at night, yes, I am tired, but I wake up and I'm ready to go in the morning. Got rid of aches and pains, got rid of arthritis. When you eat a non-inflammatory lifestyle, I don't want to use the word diet because the first 3 words of diet are die. So when you change to a plant-based lifestyle and eat foods that bring you healing rather than taking in foods that bring you inflammation. And when you're constantly living in an inflamed state, your organs can't heal. The body has the ability to heal itself. But in our society, we're running to doctors, oh, I got high cholesterol. Here, take this pill. They don't tell you that the pill you're taking is also going to destroy your muscle mass. Or here, take an aspirin each day. Okay, great. I'm going to have a great stomach down the line from, eating away at my stomach. Or you have high blood pressure. Well, wait a minute. If you learn to meditate, change your food, change your head trip, you can lower the blood pressure. But this whole country is based on profitability of the drug companies are running our healthcare system, and so is insurance companies. It's like having a politician in office. They don't care about you. They just care about getting elected. So, and you look how many lobbyists are in the dairy industry, the beef industry.
I was going to say, they had John on handfuls of pills a day, and we took everything off, and he was...
The pills will make you loopy. I mean, you're
Yeah.
not
They
present.
did make you loopy, huh, Dad?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you're a lot better now that you're off of them.
Yeah, you're way better.
It's about being present.
The problem, our pharmaceutical industry is way out of whack because so much of what we have in there only works 50% of the time.
Yes.
It does not necessarily work all the time. You're better off to eat the great foods, get all of your nutrients that you need, all the benefits that you want if you have certain problems. Get the fibers that you need to keep yourself regular. You do so your system works well the way it was designed.
Every ad on TV is a pill ad. You know, whether you're constipated, or whether you got plaque psoriasis, or whether you got colitis, whether you got
do we need
heart disease, or you name it. Every ad, you know, is for a drug.
It's drugs or chemicals, because we're putting so many chemicals onto our bodies today that we never had. We never knew about this stuff.
Then it all goes into our water system.
Then you're going, why do you have these skin rashes? Well, parts of it are the soaps we used. If you went back to the early 1800s, people didn't have these problems. The soaps they used were very pure back then. Very simple, with a lot less chemicals into it. We didn't have all the fragrances we were adding. If you wanted a fragrance, you went out and smelled a flower.
All the colorings and the additives and the preservatives. And yes, people are living longer, but what is the quality of the world they're living in? You have to look at your life when you're closer and here in age. When you get to that part of your life, how do you want to be living it? Do you want to have energy? Do you want to be able to do all the things you love or are passionate about doing it? Or are you going to be sitting there, I can't do this, my knees hurt, I can't do this, my back hurts, or I have no strength, I have no energy, I feel depressed. Well, you've got a whole group of young people now growing up. We talked a little bit about it earlier, the quote, me generation. These kids don't have any energy, they don't have any drive, they don't have any passion. It's all about them and what their needs are. It's not about a global, for a few it is, but for the most part in this country, it's not about a global view of how do we take care of everyone around us, how do we make it a better world. In order to make it a better world, this is our universe. I call this the hara, the seeds of the soul. And everything we process in life starts right in here. Starts here, what goes in the mouth. Affects brain and gut are tied in. And if you're not eating healthy food, your brain is out, trust me, out to lunch. It's like we're living in a world of cotton in our head where we can't make healthy decisions. We don't remember anything. Or we're just totally not present with people. And sitting down like we are now, just having a conversation, we need to have a lot more conversations that are supportive of each other. We're, gaining hopefully wisdom, knowledge, and how to make it a better earth that this is the earth we're walking upon. What are we doing to it? We're extracting so many things. We're taking the life force and the blood out of the earth. How can we replenish the earth? And it starts with replenishing our heart, our soul, our spirit, because we are connected to the earth. This is the planet we live on. Yes, there's other planets out there, probably, plenty of them, but how are we walking and doing and walking our talk where we are right now?
And if you walk your talk correctly, you can actually help the person or the people that you are associating with. And if you're doing that and helping them, it's hard to be mad at them. It's hard to cause the wars and the anguish and everything else that we have. You start to look at each other more as human beings when you're doing it this way. And you treat each other as human beings. And that's the way we should all be treating each other. Treat them as a human being. Feed them, help them eat correctly, help them enjoy their life. So your life is up here and it goes, and then someday you're at about 108 and you go, geez, I just went 6 miles on a walk today, everything else. I think I'm going to go to sleep. You go to sleep, and you'll wake up that next day. You've had a wonderful life up to there. You've enjoyed it. And if you can help each other get to that and hold that right to that point so they've enjoyed their entire life, then you've done your part.
What do you say to people when they're just saying, it's just a part of aging, right? That they have inflammation or they have arthritis. What's your wisdom to them, because
You could
you
change-
guys are, I don't want to say, you're older, I should
Yes.
say, older.
Oh, just go ahead. Go right ahead. Just say how old I am.
You go ahead.
You're really old. But if you're doing all the right things, your body can still keep on going. It's designed for a long, long term. And if you take care of it, it's just like your car. If you keep changing the oil on it and doing the right things for it, it'll last you a long, long, long time. Your body is the same thing. Change the oil in your body. Do the right things. Take care of, maintain it. And it'll last you a long, long time, and it will provide you with a wonderful experience.
Yeah, that our church, the prophet, he's 95.
Yeah.
Not 96. But he's been a heart surgeon. He's lived kind of this life you're talking about.
Yeah.
He believes in exercising and getting up early. And
Doing
working hard.
everything.
And he has amazing health.
Yeah.
But he would tell you he's earned the right.
We have all earned the right. Why are we
You've
less
earned-
than
you've earned it.
anybody else?
He's obeyed the health rules, though.
Yeah,
And
there's
this is-
there's the health rules, and almost everybody has, if you go back through it, they all have the same health rules.
Yes.
Throughout this world, we're no different.
Hippocrates says, let medicine be thy food and food be thy medicine. And that was how many thousands years ago? Do you think he was onto something? It's honoring yourself.
And if you do that, if you honor yourself like that, that's the best thing you could ever
You
do.
can't get what you don't got. And if you talk to people about inflammation, some people really enjoy being in pain because it gets them a lot of attention, it gets them a lot of sympathy, and a lot of people in this world are victims. Somehow they get off on being victims. And victimhood just creates more victimhood. And you really want to empower someone and say you can make the change. There's a lot of information out there, more so now than when 10 years ago. There's lots of wonderful movies on Netflix to watch, a lot of great books to read on plant-based lifestyle. They're taking it now to inner city and LA and the poorest sections. They're feeding people rather than giving them junk for food. They're giving them plant-based, and you're watching the diabetes rates go down, stopping medications, watching young kids, who are full of pimples, clearing up their skin. And when you take charge of your health, you can make tremendous change, not only for yourself, but for your neighborhood, your community. And it's like dropping a pebble in the water, and you watch the rings go out, and they expand and they expand.
And then your job also is to keep this whole thing going to other people. You have to pass it on.
Yes.
You have to play it forward.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing we have.
Of course, the other problem we have is people have got so lazy.
But if we keep saying
don't
probable
even, they don't
continue.
even cook, so
Yeah.
they're eating all their meals out.
But those people will always probably do the same thing unless they get educated. And if we keep saying problem, we're going to have problem. We could change the dynamics. We have challenges. If we say we have problem, then we own it. Oh, I got this big problem. Oh, you must enjoy it. You own it. You could say we have challenges, but we could work through challenges. And if you have faith, whatever religion it may be, there's hope, there's faith, and there's also hopefully light at the end of the tunnel, but it comes down to educating ourselves and taking power. The power starts at what we put in our mouth and the choices we make. And if we don't make healthy choices, we will have the problem. We will not be able to sustain this planet and the amount of water it takes to feed an animal and to graze an animal and to bring it to fruition. But we could feed a lot of people on this planet if we raise plants. We're not going to be knocking down acres and acres of rainforest. We're taking the life force out of this planet.
But one of the things is, if you walk your talk and do that, you can go up to somebody else and say, okay, one person at a time, I'm doing this, it's working well for me, why don't you try it? And just show the kindness that we all should show each other and help them get to the same point that you're at. And we just haven't seen enough of that kindness out there in our societies. We won't have all of the wars, everything else when we start doing this, because now we become friendly. We're all on the same basis.
You know,
and you treat each other like a human being. And when you do that and you say, can I help you find the right way?
It's a shift in consciousness when we're killing thousands of animals very inhumanely, whether it be chickens, whether it be cows or pigs. There's a level of violence that goes with eating that food that we're a part of. When you shift your consciousness to I want to call it being a peaceful warrior, and walking that road of the peaceful warrior, you can make tremendous change. And it comes back to, okay, how do I want to conduct my life? And I believe, if I had to end something right now, I believe the most important product one can produce in life is the growth and the awareness of one's own self.
Okay.
I want to add. I want you to go into that
you
just a
want
little
them
bit
to
more.
go in
I
here on
do.
that.
Yes, I do. But I want you to, in this conversation right here, right now, I actually want you to say, both of you, right? It's contagious energy. Like both of you, I feel that you've taken charge of your health, and you have contagious energy. Like I feel that about both of you. But also with that energy, I feel that you guys have also had to put you've had to learn meditation and in yoga to put your body kind of in that parasympathetic mode to rest, because you have to rest your body as much as you have to energize your body. And that, I think so many people were so focused on peak performance and living at this ultimate that we're not also resting our bodies as well.
Well, I'm going to say you go to many gyms, people are into fitness. Doesn't mean they're into health. They're looking to look at a certain body image, life. It has nothing to do with health. If you remember the story of Jim Fixx, he was like the father of running. Lived in Greenwich, Connecticut, where I had lived in at one time. Picture of fitness, not an ounce of fat on this man. This man ran every day, and he wrote the ultimate book, on running. Died of heart disease because he ate a lot of meat. And meat is not conducive to our bodies of creating health and constricting blood vessels and arteries, and caused a heart attack. Everyone's on a ketogenic diet. That's Atkins' diet reinvented. Atkins was over 300 pounds when he dropped out of a heart attack walking down the street.
Yep.
So you look at many of these quote fad diets out there, and you have to look at the authors. Do they look like they're in shape, or they look like the wheat belly man,